I'll just give a quick brief on Dialpad if that's okay with you guys. Thanks for having us. Love that you guys have Dialpad in your platform already, so you guys can see how that looks. So we've got some data already built in there. Love partnering with Procure IT. I'm here in the DFW area, run our partnerships around the region. So Jordan's going to show you guys a quick demo, not very long, but just show you like exactly the power of what Dialpad does. Because I don't know if any one of you have seen that yet, but I'll tell you real quick what Dialpad is. It's a communication platform built on AI. So our founder, it's a great story. He's the person that created Google Voice, right? So after he left Google, he came over and created Dialpad. So, he's very innovative, as you can imagine. We've had this real-time transcription thing for 7 or 8 years now. We've been doing it for a long time. And that transcription is the power of the AI. So we're capturing all those words, those billions and billions of 8 or 9 billions of minutes of conversations that we've captured over the years, and we're able to understand what the voice of the customer is, right? And a lot of that is in real time. So if I could tell you one thing before he jumps into a demo, if you're thinking about what is Dialpad, so yes, it's the voice platform. It's a communication tool. What are you using internally for messaging, video, voice? Of course, we're doing that. But what are you doing if your contact center folks or agents are taking calls? You have some other kind of, a talk desk or a Genesis or someone like that doing your contact center capabilities. So say maybe you're using, actually, I've got a really good example. I've got a customer right now. They're retail. They got about 10,000 Ring Central seats. They're using a couple of hundred contact center seats on talk desk. 2 separate platforms, right? Where Dialpad does all of that together. And then the third component of that is actually sales analytics, sales intelligence. So imagine if you're using like a Gong or a Chorus or a Observe AI, something that's doing playbooks in tandem with your phone system. We do that as well. So take all those off the table, consolidate all into one platform. That's what Dialpad is doing. So think about being on a call and the customer asking for pricing, and immediately a real-time price book pops up, right? Or you should follow this playbook as a sales rep and say, what's the budget, what's the need, what's the authority, the time frame. In real time, Dialpad is telling you, hey, you haven't asked for the budget yet. Those are just 2 small examples. Let me allow George. Are you set up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let him show you this, and then I think afterwards maybe we'll do some Q&A or a panel. But yeah, I'll turn it over to Jordan.
Yeah, how's it going, y'all? My name's Jordan Biggany. I'm a senior enterprise sales engineer at Dialpad, talking y'all through kind of what Jeremy just covered, what Dialpad is. We are a platform in the UC/CC space, specifically also have a sales solution as well. Some proprietary AI we're going to talk about, but at a surface level, we'll kind of get it rolling. So what we're currently looking at here is the Dialpad desktop application. The view we're currently looking at is our Mac OS desktop instance. We do have a native desktop application for both Windows and Mac OS. We have a mobile application for Android and iOS. We have the ability to access this from any web browser anywhere in the world. So things like shared library computers, hotel computers for your users that are on the go, have the option to make and receive calls, send and receive messages. Also the option for admins to do any changes remotely. We are also certified for Chrome OS, so if you have any users that are utilizing Chromebooks, becoming more common in call center type environments for a more budget-friendly solution, we are fully certified with Chrome OS and can actually be purchased through the Google Marketplace, full partnership with them. We do also have the option to support physical devices, so physical desk phones, fax machines, paging systems, etc. We can work there as well. At a surface level, given time, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time covering buttons, but we are a full UC and CC solution. What's really nice about Dialpad is, if any of y'all are familiar with the rings, the NICEs, things along those lines, what tends to happen is your UC users are separated from your contact center users. Not the circumstance with us. Everything is done through one platform. This also can include things like omni-channel as well. So if you have any digital agents, we can bring all that data into the exact same platform that your UC or your CC users are going to be working from. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up a quick call. Going to do this through a contact center. We're going to focus on some of our kind of hit list features, I would call them. We'll move front to back, left to right. Call them to schedule an appointment. So I want y'all to pay attention to what it is that we're seeing on the screen, this little box here. This is what we refer to as an RTA, or real-time. Go ahead.
Everybody see okay?
Yeah, has everyone got this? Okay, cool. So our little box that we just saw, that is what we refer to as an RTA, or a real-time assist card. This is being kind of done based off of the third party's conversation. I like to trigger it as soon as the call starts so y'all can kind of see how quick it is that our things go into action or go into play. And what you all see here is this box. This is our AI transcription. Now, this does run across our platform. I'm sure everyone's seen some form of like closed captioning on a Teams call or something along those lines. This is a little bit different for us. All of this is being done on net. We are not utilizing a third party in this use case. We're analyzing this on the RTP, or the audio stream, real time. We are using our own proprietary large language model as well. So we're not pushing data out. If we have law firms in here, medical, anything along those lines, obviously data security and cleansing is important. This is all being processed on the platform. Now, with that being said, we're also about 93% accurate with over 8 billion minutes of analyzed talk time. This is strictly business communication. So about 14,000 calendar years at this point, which gives us about a 93% accuracy. So you compare that to like an IBM Watson, a Google, those are in the 77 to 82% accuracy range. So the most accurate telephony transcription on the market by a pretty long shot. And what y'all see printing across the screen, this doesn't have to be up all the time, but I like to show it because as I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking quick. You can kind of see that it's doing its thing. At a surface level, transcription is kind of the base piece of Dialpad. I would like to compare it to a spider, where transcription is kind of the body, and all the cool stuff are the legs, right? Which we'll talk about here in a second. We do also utilize natural language processing and machine learning. So as y'all grow with us, we grow with y'all. Meaning we'll adjust things like language variables, business names, employee names, things along those lines, and pick that data up. Any questions on this so far? Awesome. Going to minimize this here, and we're going to kind of talk about some of the other pieces. So right here on the screen, of course, we have our standard call controls. They're actually covered by Zoom here on this TV, but you can see them here. One thing that is unique about us is transcription, call audio recording, agent screen capture. These are all features that are available, and they live independently. A lot of times what happens with a Zoom or a Teams, for example, is you get into a meeting or you get on a phone call and it's like, hey, this call is being recorded and it's also being transcribed. To be transcribed, it also has to be recorded. This is not the circumstance with us. We do have the option to separate these two things, and they're very granular. So if y'all have any contact centers in your instance, this doesn't have to be traditional support type contact centers. It can just be multiple users representing a shared line within a business. We give granular controls. So we offer agent screen capture as well. So this is not only recording the screen that I'm operating Dialpad on while I'm on a phone call, this is going to be recording all my monitors. So these three things do live independently: call audio recording, transcription, and agent screen capture. And they're customizable on a per queue basis, customizable on both inbound and outbound calls, customizable on a forced on, forced off, allowing users to be able to enable or disable. We can also do things like if y'all need PCI compliance, where if the user is navigating to a payment portal, we can automatically pause recording and transcription while they're taking that payment and resume that data after they navigate away, for example. So super granular in that regard. Also, one-party and two-party consent state, we're compliant there. So we can have exception lists if y'all have people calling in from specific regions, utilizing something like a geo-router, for example. Now, what we're seeing on the screen here is what we refer to as AI recaps. This here is a conversation pane or conversation history. With Dialpad, the conversation follows the group, the individual, the contact center that they are calling into. Meaning that this is my conversation through the Procure IT contact center with Robin Banks, or any correspondence that Robin has had with any individual in the shared line. This could be things like SMS history, MMS history, photos, etc. But here, what I want to focus on is AI recaps. AI recaps for us using our LLM, which is Dialpad GPT. Kind of hard to see with this little box down here at the bottom right, and the text at the bottom right. It's giving a quick synopsis about what's discussed in every single conversation that your agents, individuals, sellers are having. We also provide a lot of coaching insight based off of that data. There's some more traditional features that y'all would expect from any kind of solid CC solution like sentiment and real-time coaching, for example. But this is kind of taking that conversation, giving me a full summary. It'll give me data on the call. If we're using dispositions or wrap-up codes, it will attach that information up here on the top. This one was listed as a billing question. We also utilize AI to give an AI call purpose, this one being an appointment, as well as things like action items. So we're picking out the important points in the conversation, we're highlighting that data and presenting it to an agent or a representative post-call or at the call wrap-up. This data can also be synced to any CRMs or tools that y'all may be utilizing. So something like a Salesforce, for example. It's a very native push. These are one-click integrations. I actually happen to have that running over here on the right. We're not just pushing things like, hey, you received a call at this time and date. We're pushing all of this AI information as well. So there's some other features like AI CSAT and AI QA scorecards. We can natively push all of this in. Playbook adherence, which we'll take a look at here in a second. But once it's configured, it's kind of a set it and forget it. We relay all that information for y'all. Now, over here on the right, I want to talk about playbooks. Playbooks are another tool that Dialpad offers. What's really kind of nice here is if you have a talk track that your agents or representatives would like to use or should be using, playbooks give you the option to have kind of a talk track or a list of information that someone should be covering within a conversation. Maybe in legal, you have someone that's doing intake, for example, and they're asking case information, budget, etc. As those answers are populated or pulled in by the third party, we will automatically append that information into the AI playbook over here on the right, and we will attach that information to every single call. This becomes kind of an overall coachable score for each agent or representative, and is once again customizable on a per queue basis. We know it's not a one-size-fits-all, so if I'm covering different things, for example, or I realize I need to swap my playbook, I have that option, but it's kind of just running in the background inherently by default. We talked about, kind of briefly covered RTAs, but RTAs are real-time assist cards. So if y'all have a knowledge base, y'all have a help desk, something along those lines, and y'all find yourselves having to put people on hold, whether this is for internal employees or customer-facing situations, RTAs are the ability to present information to an agent based off of a pop-up. As the conversation progresses, this can pull from an internal knowledge base, external knowledge base, and present that data on the screen, where a lot of times people are putting something in a SharePoint or a Google Drive, and as data is changing, you're having to go and look and see what the most updated information is. Not the circumstance with us. We kind of present that data real time and populate that information. Where are we at? Time, 5 minutes. At a surface level, this is kind of just a quick touch, but want to show y'all what a post-call recap looks like. We also have what we refer to as AI moments. AI moments are the ability, if y'all are looking to track specific points of a conversation, whether this be something like a frustration or maybe an unsure agent or unaware agent. Moments, you'll notice that I have American Express, CRM outage, negative sentiment, for example. All this is going to be highlighted. We can also choose to alert a supervisor real time as these things are being said or mentioned, either by your agent or by the third party. We will populate this data, attach it, becomes a reportable object in the back end, as well as RTAs that were triggered. This one happened to have agent screen capture turned on, and then I do have access to both my AI recap and the full call transcript. All this data becomes fully searchable. So anything that's said within a conversation, I can search across the platform, a specific group, a set of users, etc. And then over here on the right, we also have my playbook information that was triggered within the conversation. So things like problem, customers having an issue with the CRM outage, for example, previous solutions that they may have had, training information, etc. Just shows what I covered and what I missed. And then we also have AI CSAT. So if y'all notice, or AI QA. If y'all notice over here on the left, there's been a lot more that's been added into the conversation. What we're doing is if y'all have a traditional QA team that's going in and auditing calls across the organization, we can take those same prerequisites. We're using kind of Gen AI here to listen into the conversation and give y'all an overall score of what is happening based off of the results for a specific group that y'all may set. So instead of generally picking, traditional QA that we see across a lot of orgs is we pick 5, 10 calls, for example. We hope that there are 5 good calls or 5 bad calls that we can use as a coaching opportunity. It doesn't give you a lot of insight, where this can grade every single call, inbound and outbound, longer than a minute. So this is more for y'all's internal teams to pull that data. And then kind of the final piece here, just due to time, is going to be AI CSAT. This is internal, so don't judge us on this score here. This is SE to SE. But AI CSAT is a lot like AI QA scorecards, but instead of using this for internal grading, this is grading every single call that y'all have with your clients. It is providing a customer satisfaction score instead of staying on the phone and doing that traditional, hey, rate this call on a 1 to 5. What you tend to get there is your zeros and your heroes, right? The people that are really upset or really pleased. This grabs everything in between. It attaches that data and appends that information to each of your agents. We'll show how many calls were graded, kind of show you who your strong agents are, who your weak agents are, present based off of that. We have a big launch coming here in a couple of weeks with some additional features that are going to be added to AI CSAT, like some per call level explanation. That is in 8 days. So I can't really talk about it yet, but if y'all come find me, I might be willing to have a discussion with y'all. But at a surface level, I know this is quick. This is Dialpad.
Yeah,
Jeremy?
by the way, thank you.
Yep.
So,
It's great.
Dialpad spun out of Google Voice. So Google Voice, Craig was behind Google Voice. So taking voice data and building stories and subsets of stories, they're a market leader in this. They really embedded in the use of and the implementation of the voice data to tell a story within their organization to drive revenue, drive optimization, drive growth in different facets with different business units. I've been extremely impressed with their ability to out-innovate. Craig's one of the top innovators in the United States with regards to building a team, building an organization, driving revenue. The growth that they've seen year in and year out is expansive. As they plot their course towards a public company, I couldn't be happier to have them as a partner. I don't know if you want to jump in for anything else on that, but this is one of those partners when you look at them and you go, hey, what's innovation look like to you? You're able to say in front of a client, it looks like we're a market leader, and here's why.
Yeah.
You just got an idea of why, which you can go a lot deeper on.
Yep.
But for our clients, it's about bringing this to your doorstep. You might not have a transition, you might not need it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of one of those things where we want this to be at your fingertips. I don't know if you want to close with anything.
Anybody have questions first?
Yeah.
Quick time check. How much time we have?
Look good.
Okay, so I have one question. There's a lot of ambiguity around AI in the markets. I think probably the contact center and voice in particular is the best use case of AI that we've seen out there. But where's it going, right? I mean, in terms of the industry, the market, the macro, where do we see this continuing to go? I mean, at this point, you're triaging first calls, right? Basically, there's a lot of quantifiable ROI around it in general. But where do you guys see it going? And is there any particular verticals that we're seeing the biggest impacts of?
Yeah, I think where we're seeing, where definitely where you want to hear the voice of your customer, right, or the voice of your patients or whoever's calling in. Every time a call happens and someone hangs up, you're not losing that data now. Everything's being captured. Of course, you can turn it off, turn it on, or you don't have to see the transcript the whole time. But we're capturing that. Customers are calling in for certain things. So retail, we do really well. We do really well with law firms. You mentioned we do really well in healthcare.
Logistics, shipping and receiving.
Logistics, other tech companies, shipping, car dealerships, things like that. So again, think about what I said at the very beginning, consolidating those other platforms that you may be using. I mean, you'll have a cost savings, you have a consolidation, and then you'll have a true leader in AI and tech. You may want to speak on the future of AI that was kind of embedded in that question. I mean,
yeah,
got some insights there.
I mean, I think the short answer is, right, our thought process is AI is not new to us. We've had our own LLM, we've had our own GPT model, we've been doing the AI and the transcription side of things. This is year 8. One thing that we have, I think that's a big advantage is a lot of data. I think it's going to be very difficult for any company to be able to catch us, and accuracy is only data is only as good as it is accurate. For anyone that's seen a bad AI transcript somewhere or post-call recap, it's pretty much useless information. It becomes a bunch of fluff and noise. I think where we're going, like Dialpad specific, is us kind of building hard usable data, like something that y'all can look at, a quick call, a meeting, whatever the scenario is, and know exactly what happened without having to spend, 20 minutes filtering through information. So that's really our focus. We have a massive data set, but fine tuning, like down to kind of very minuscule levels, is our big focus. One thing that's unique about Dialpad is we do product launches every single week. So every Friday we're pushing a release. If anyone's familiar with the Cisco's or whoever it may be, nothing, no bad words there, but it may be every 6 months, a year and a half before y'all see something. That is not the circumstance with us. We have a massive launch that we do every spring and every winter. And I think, our goal is to keep innovating and kind of push above everyone else.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.